We did $500,000 or $600,000 in 2024. We've now sold over $1 million since then, and ECG has been a big part of that. And so I've really appreciated the transparency and showing what it takes to succeed in this business, having access to those resources, those coaches. The ECG distribution side have also been great to work with.
Hey everyone, welcome to today's case study. I have Seth here with me, who's been a student of ECG for a while and has gone through the program and the Brand Direct Blueprint. And we're going to hear about his experience in the program and beyond. And before we dive in, my name is Dan. I'm the founder of ECG Wholesale. I built an 8-figure a year Amazon wholesale business working directly with brands to help them grow online. And I also go by 1000 ASINs on Instagram and YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. So first question, before we dive in, can you share a quick background on yourself, Seth, like what you were doing before Amazon, how you started with Amazon, and what ended up leading you to want to join ECG and transition your business to wholesale brand direct?
Yeah. So we've been selling, my wife and I, on Amazon for about 2 years, 9 months now. So we're coming up on the 3-year mark. We started with online arbitrage in May 2023. Um, Paid for, like a coaching mentorship thing to show us the basics and try to get us started in the right direction. But there was definitely a lot of self-instruction that we did along the way. A lot of things we had to figure out on our own. And yeah, I think we sold about $100,000 that first couple months in 2023. We did $500,000 or $600,000 in 2024. We've now sold over $1 million since then. Since starting, and yeah, we're really excited for the future's heading. Background on why we started Amazon. I was actually working just a job at the time that I was not super fulfilled in. And I was like, hey, I was getting married. My wife and I wanted to have a family. Didn't want to be working a job that required me to work nights and weekends forever. And so that's what initially started the drive to, want to start our own online business. Um, I am still working a different full-time corporate day job. I was able to find a remote role, Monday through Friday, nights and weekends off, that allows me to still, work on our Amazon business on the side, on nights and weekends, mainly because of the ability that we've done to outsource, grow, scale, and ECG has been a big part of that. Um, uh,
Amazing.
yeah, so with us, we were, I would say, like, decently successful with online arbitrage. We still have a
Yeah.
little bit of it that we do, but it was just a lot to manage. Even with VAs, like a lot of orders, a lot of small quantities, a lot of repricing, and even though there's some great benefits with OA, like a lot of cash back and things like that that you can do with certain Chrome extensions that you can't as frequently do with wholesale. Just from a time management perspective of still working, I'm a wife, married to my wife. I'm a father to a almost 2-year-old boy. We're involved in our church. Just a lot going on. I was a man.
Sure.
We would love to be able to just kind of focus on larger purchase orders, stability, replenishables, things like that. And so that's why, we wanted to reach out with ECG.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Arbitrage is definitely tougher to scale. If you're getting into like millions of sales, you can do it, but it's a lot to manage. And as you alluded to, it's much easier to order 1,000 units of a SKU through a distributor or a brand directly and just get a pallet of the product, then try to order 10 units at a time from an online retailer. And you've done 100 orders, and some of those might get canceled, and some of those might never show up to your warehouse or 3PL. Other ones might be damaged. Like, it's just a lot to manage to procure a large quantity of product.
Yeah.
And then with arbitrage, like, it might be a great price during a sale that you can stack with like cash back and gift cards and all this stuff. You might get a great price, but let's say everything goes great. You sell the 500 units you purchase and you want to get more. Well, next month there might not be that same sale. There might not be that same cash back. So it's a little bit tougher than wholesale. Just the price is the price, month in, month out. And yeah, there sometimes annual price increases, but generally it's a pretty stable price and stable supply of the product. So I think you're on the right track there in terms of simplicity, getting large quantities, and it's really cool to hear that you have a full-time job on top of this, because a lot of people that will be listening to this potentially are in that same boat. They have a job, maybe they can't even quit it. Maybe they want to test this Amazon thing to make sure it goes well before, you know, actually going full time into it. So it sounds like you've been successful on top of a job and family obligations and church and everything, still making this happen. So hats off to you for juggling all that.
Yeah, thanks. And yeah, we're at the point now where we were able to transition our LLC to an S corporation, for some additional tax savings. It was definitely kind of like a long-term investment mindset. It's not an overnight get rich quick thing. You're
Sure.
going to scale and reinvest for a while. But it's great now, 2.5, 3 years in, being at that point where we're taking pretty good profit from the business and still
Yeah.
growing.
Nice. Yeah. So you've transitioned from arbitrage to mostly wholesale, still doing a little bit of arbitrage, which is totally fine. It doesn't have to be an overnight thing. Um, how has ECG helped you get there? And like, what was the most valuable thing that the program has offered so far? And I know it's still evolving and the community is still active. So hopefully still getting value out of it.
Yeah, one thing that I've appreciated is just your transparency and the transparency of the other members and the coaches in the community. There's a lot of people out there that might not be willing to share their own P&L, their own real world numbers. Hey, $1 million in sales revenue does not mean $1 million in take home pay and profit, right? Like, what is the realistic thing look like? And so I've really appreciated the transparency with that, and showing what it takes to succeed in this business, having access to those resources, those coaches in the program. And then, Jack and Kenny with the ECG distribution side have also been great to work with. For our business, I think we've spent probably $200,000 with y'all over the past 8 or 9 months
That's
on
awesome.
ECG distribution side. And so that's been an awesome added bonus to the being a member of this community.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we would love for anyone who joins to like get an ROI back on the program costs just with profit they make from our wholesale deals. And I mean, we're still building it. Rome wasn't built in a day, but we're working on having like a list of hundreds of replenishable products that are actually profitable. So it's great to hear you found a good amount of good stuff that I'm sure you've profited more many times over than the program costs, just having access to the deals. So that's great to hear, and we're looking forward to making it even better. So, um, yeah, that's amazing. Ultimately, we want to teach people how to fish instead of just give them a fish. But if people need a fish right in the beginning, then the fish are there. So,
Yeah,
a little bit of
definitely.
both. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely best of both worlds there for sure.
yeah, yeah. Awesome. Where are you trying to take the business? I know it sounds like you've got a lot on your plate. Are you trying to just get it to kind of a stable place where it offers supplementary income? Or are you trying to 10x this thing, eventually quit your job, or what are you think? What are your thoughts there?
I'll be honest, when we first started in 2023, it was, I want to quit my job because I was not enjoying my job. For my corporate sales job that I have, I actually really enjoy it. It gives me,
Nice.
a lot of flexibility being a remote role. Yeah, at this point, I'm more so looking at replacing my wife's income. Who knows if we have more kids in the future, maybe she'll want to be a stay-at-home mom or something like that. We'll cross those bridges when that time comes. But at this point, we're just looking at continuing to scale, get as much additional income as possible, and then just also have a job security. Working a remote corporate sales job, is not immune to
Sure.
layoffs and
Sure.
that type of stuff down the road. And so it's really awesome just having that kind of security blanket, knowing that if the worst did happen with my regular day job, I would still be able to provide for our family.
Yeah, yeah, that's huge for sure. And yeah, it's awesome that Amazon can be whatever you want it to be in terms of scale. You know, some people are just totally at peace with making an extra couple $1,000s a month, and it supplements their lifestyle and it like bridges the gap between wherever they want to be. Other people are trying to constantly get a new high score. I'm in that camp, trying to push myself in the business, see how high I can take it, how big I can scale it. But it doesn't have to be that, and it's almost I think for myself anyway, it'll almost be a relief when I'm like, you know what, I'm actually done growing. I want to just like solidify what I have and just make everything about owning this thing a lot easier and have it kind of run itself. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it sounds like you're well poised to do that.
Yeah,
And
and I'll just add that, we've been able to kind of scale and outsource and implement systems for everything now where we don't ever touch product. We have a prep center for OA stuff. We have a prep center for wholesale stuff. We have a different company we contract for liquidations and unfulfillable removal orders, that type of stuff. Like it's completely hands off now. We never have to touch any physical product. When we started, we were shipping products out of out of our garage, like a lot of other sellers. But it's really cool that FBA gives you the ability to scale and grow. And yeah, especially on the wholesale side, on our selling side of our business, probably less than 10 to 12 hours a month at this point
amazing,
to sustain
amazing.
what we are, because we can place a $30,000 purchase order all at once for thousands of units versus hundreds of smaller orders, and it's just a huge time savings right there.
Yeah, exactly. So those 10, 12 hours a week, what you're focusing on mostly is looking at what products need to be restocked and then placing purchase orders for those. And then you'll basically spend the budget you have for inventory for the month, and then the rest is kind of hands off, more or less.
Yeah, yeah, not even 10 hours a week,
Oh, you said a
I would say
month,
like
excuse me.
yeah,
Into it.
yeah. Now, that'll probably change over time as we, try to explore more of the brand direct, research route, and we're, having our VA do that now, doing some initial brand research and some, initial outreach, and, whenever we get an approval or a distributor catalog, I'll have her start working on going through those, looking for some
Nice.
additional profitable products.
Awesome. Yeah, you got it going on. Yeah, happy to hear about all the success with Amazon and that the transition from arbitrage to wholesale was a relatively smooth one, and hopefully ECG helped you grease the wheels a little bit in making that transition. Um, so on that note, who would you say that is a good fit for ECG? Like, what type of capital levels? Like, who would be the best person to succeed in the program? Because we want anyone to join to actually have a good chance of succeeding. We don't want to sell the course to people who don't need it, don't want it, aren't capable, don't have the capital, whatever. So,
Yeah.
who do you think after going through it yourself would be a good fit?
I think it really depends on whether you want to go more so the distribution route to start or the brand direct route to start. If you're going to go the brand direct route to start, I think you can start with ECG from zero experience, less than $5,000 to $10,000 capital. If you target some smaller brands and go the brand registry route, letter of authorization route, things like that. Versus if you're going to go kind of like a wholesale distribution route, I do think starting with online arbitrage or getting your feet wet, learning how to ungate products. I think there is some advantage of that, and so I think it really does depend on what that potential students' personal goals are. But it's definitely possible to start. If you're targeting brand direct, from zero experience, and if you're already an existing Amazon arbitrage seller, then you already have a great leg up on a lot of other people because you may already have a more mature seller account. You may get access to more auto ungates of different brands on the wholesale distribution side or different subcategories. As far as capital, for us, we just wanted to be consistently profitable with the OA and OA side, and we wanted to have the ability, to spend 25 to $50,000 within a month. That was just us. That's not what everyone has to do, but that was just our particular journey transitioning over.
Yeah, it makes sense. Um, and let's say you have like 30K of capital. What do you think is a realistic number, like profit number for someone like maybe they don't know about Amazon at all, but they have a little nest egg? Like, what do you think that could generate in terms of monthly profit?
In like 30,000 of monthly inventory spend.
Yeah, let's
Is
say
that
you're spending you're spending 30,000 a month, like or initial buy of 30,000, and then you spend whatever comes back to you like after that.
um I guess it depends on the distributor you find or how great the margins are, but I would definitely say that'll equate to $50,000-$60,000 of monthly sales revenue minimum, especially on the wholesale brand direct side, possibly even higher. And so if you're targeting correct margins, I don't know, that could be anywhere from five to $10,000 a month in profit, depending on the types of products you're sourcing.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I asked kind of a stupid question because it does depend, like, whether it's a 5% margin, 15, 30% margin. But I guess the point in asking was like someone that's maybe watching, they have, that amount of money. What's like a realistic figure? And I think you're right. I think, maybe $5,000 of extra profit a month if you're like consistently spending that money. And that's after Amazon fees. That's like net of everything. So
Yeah.
that adds up, especially on top of an income. So,
Yeah.
yeah, awesome. Well, I don't want to keep you too long. That was basically everything I had for you. So just wanted to say thank you, and glad to hear, your journey is going according to plan. And I hope you guys, yeah, keep running it up and have a very secure future for, your family and have some fun while doing it. So, uh,
Yeah. We're grateful. We're thankful. We're very blessed to be able to do all the things that we do.
amazing. Awesome. Thank you for sharing your story. And if anyone listening is intrigued by this, perhaps have been wanting to get into brand direct wholesale or even buying from distributors, we cover all that in our program in depth. And yeah, just click the link below this video. That'll bring you to a call with one of my team members, and we can discuss it further and see if we're a good fit for each other. And yeah, thanks everyone for listening. Have a great day, Seth, and good luck out there.